So, picture this. A game that combines the map designs of Ace Combat with the combat style from Zone of the Enders. With numerous enemies per mission close to Dynasty Warriors, packaged with a bunch of different mecha anime properties, and then have From Software make it. The result you end up with is Another Century's Episode 3, the final for PlayStation 2. The third game in the series, following Ace 1 and 2. To be honest, this might very well be the best complete mech series for the PlayStation 2. Unfortunately, much like the rest of the games in this series, it was never released outside of Japan, and thus was never translated. However, I assure you, the game is still playable even if you don't know a word of Japanese. Now, what is Another Century's Episode 3? Well, it's a third-person action shooter that crosses over various mech properties like Gundam, Macross, Eureka 7, and many others. The more you use a specific mech, the more its level increases, allowing you to further increase its stats between defense, speed, boost output, turn rate, and weapon damage. You will sortie on the ground, in the air, over water, and in space. The game also has its own story with 2 original characters, who throughout its 29 mission long campaign will run into characters from various mech properties found in the game. Some of the characters are even fully animated with their own in-game models, something not typically seen in most mech games, including even Armored Core games. Overall, the game essentially has everything a mech fan would want. A wide variety of mechs to choose from, a story, well, if you know Japanese anyway, a variety of large maps, with hundreds of enemies scattered across, some surprisingly good combat, some leveling mechanics, and impressive visuals for a PlayStation 2 title for its time. And yet, as much as I enjoy the game, I can't exactly say it's my favorite in the series. Its combat is a little simpler, almost too easy at times, even when fighting bosses. The leveling system is not as complex compared to the first game, and the campaign's finale is underwhelming compared to the second game. Although, that could be because I don't know Japanese, so I had no idea what the characters were saying. And then there are the maps. While the maps are the largest in the series so far, the majority of them feel completely empty. A game like Ace Combat can get away with large empty maps, since it's a flight arcade simulator. And yet, even those games have detailed cities. This map, for example, is from Ace Combat 4, that was released for the PlayStation 2 all the way back in 2001. On the other hand, there were very few moments where the game lets you stop to look around, so you might not even notice this, and thus may not be a problem for some players. Going back to the leveling system, unlike in the first game where increasing the stats in one category would reduce the stats in another category, here in Ace 3 there are no negatives. You can make the numbers go up in all categories: defense, speed, boost output, turn rate, and attack if you want. To be fair though, if you don't know Japanese, then this makes it all the more simpler, and makes for one less hoop to get over. And then there's the game's difficulty. Not only does the game feel a lot easier compared to the first 2 games, but once you unlock better suits and level them up, there are times where you may not even notice you're fighting a boss. And fighting waves of enemies can sometimes devolve into you just simply having to hold down 1 or 2 buttons. But I suppose this could be slightly remedied by simply increasing the game's difficulty. Also, you could choose not to pick the mechs that make everything feel so easy. Most of these are all just nitpicks, of course. And also, I still had a really fun time playing the game and unlocking new mechs, which all add a great deal of replay value. This is also the only game, that I know of anyway, where you have close to an actual single-player campaign for After War Gundam X, a Gundam series that receives very little attention compared to Wing or Seed. Then there's Eureka 7, which gets a surprisingly decent amount of screen time in the game. Renten and Ureka even have their own fully animated character models in some cutscenes. I never really got into Eureka 7, but it's there if you're a fan of the anime. Just be warned that Holland is in the game too. I really hate Holland, by the way. That's probably my only other nitpick. Holland. He's in here, and he talks way too much, even though I never select him for a mission. Besides that, the game is still a lot of fun. Much like with the second game, you can also pick up to 2 allies to sortie with you on missions. They will appear on the maps with you and help you fight off enemies. Regardless of who you select for your team, you can do combination attacks with any of them. no matter what series they're from.
よっしゃもらった覚悟はいいくらえ突撃今の国してやる破壊する任務了解行くぜ排除する発射
It's not exactly my favorite in the series, but it's still, nevertheless, a good game, and I believe it's still worth playing if you're a Mech fan.
アムロさんにだけいい格好されちゃたまんないからね
エルデカと一緒なら何も怖くはない。私も
なんだこの光は
暖かくて優しい光、人の心の光です。アクシズが進路を変えます。
見間違いじゃないよね。こちらでも確認しました。アクシズ進路変更確実。地球から離れます。